A very good evening to all of you here. My name is Shreyanshi Gupta and I'm a content developer and learning manager with Lawctopus Law School. Today we are going to be having a webinar on basics of blockchain. Now, blockchain is a very interesting topic and I'm sure all of you are very excited to learn about it. It's lovely to see all of you join in such large numbers and be so interested in learning more about a topic that's of interest to you. And it's lovely to see that all of you are being so interested and enthusiastic about this topic. So just before we begin, I wanted to understand which year are you all in? Are you all still in law school? Are you all are you working professionals? Are you, in any other field of study except for law? Just so that we can have an idea on how to, sort of modify the webinar going forward and deliver the lecture accordingly. Okay, we have some people in the second year, fourth year, we have a CA finalist, we have a fifth year law student. That's great. We have a lot of law students. We have a corporate lawyer too. Okay, we have a first year student also from LLM. That's great. Lovely. We have a lot of law students basically. That's good to know. We have a corporate lawyer too. Great. Okay, I think I'll do something about my screen shaking then. All right. Okay, that's great. That's lovely. Okay, we have an assistant professor here as well. Welcome, sir. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for typing in and being so enthusiastic. I hope you continue to be enthusiastic throughout the session as well, because we have our expert here with us who has done a lot of work on blockchain, and she is really an expert in this field. I would really like to introduce you to Ashna Sethi. Ashna, if you could please switch on your camera, that would be lovely. You could say a hi to our attendees here.
Hi, everyone. How's everyone doing? And thank you so much for joining in on a Monday evening. I feel this is a decent start to your week. And I'm glad to see that we have lawyers here, we have young students, we have PhD students as well. So I'm thrilled for today's webinar, and I'm really looking forward to talk about blockchain. And honestly, my aim is not just to, explain you what is blockchain, but to get your insights as well of blockchain. So feel free to put in your questions, any doubts you have in the chat box, and would love to discuss upon it accordingly.
Thanks, Ashna. Thanks for the great introduction to our attendees. And I would just like to tell you all a little bit about Ashna so that we all know her profile well before we proceed. Ashna has finished her LLM from the University of Ottawa. She's done her LLM in law and technology. She's also completed certificate courses on blockchain, and she is doing a lot of research on technology law and in blockchain. She will be covering smart contracts as well in this webinar. So don't you worry, it will be a very interesting session where she will be covering everything that's related to webinar, the basics as much as possible in this 1.5 hour session. We have a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar as well. So please stick around if you want all your questions to be answered. You can feel free to raise your questions in the course of the webinar. We will be taking a couple of them. But for most of the questions, we have a Q&A session reserved towards the end in the last 10 minutes. So please stay back till then if you want to know the questions to your answers. If you have any questions at any point, you can use the Q&A box. That will help us keep a track of the questions better. Ashna might even answer some of them on text or whatever is convenient using the Q&A box. It's just easier to keep a track there. If you have anything that you would like to say to us or any comments that you have, you can use the chat box. But for the questions, please use the Q&A box. It will just keep things a little more organized. Now, one more thing, there's a small surprise reserved at the end of the session for you, right before the Q&A. So please stick around till then. There is an amazing surprise for all the attendees who have come for this session and have spent so much time on their learning. So I really hope you do stick around for the surprise. I will be telling you a lot of interesting information about technology law and what more you can do in it to get better at that. So please do stick around till then. And yes, I hope that you have a great session ahead. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask on the Q&A box and use the chat box as well if you have generally any other comments. And yeah, have a great session, and over to you, Ashna. I hope you have fun doing this.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward. And I would request you to please share the slides so that all the viewers all the people have an idea what I will be talking about.
Yeah,
And
I'll just take a moment if that's okay.
all right, guys. So I'm really excited and I'm really keen to give you a concept of basics of blockchain. Just to give you a little idea, today's webinar won't be about just cryptocurrency, but about blockchain. In very simpler terms, blockchain is the technology used behind cryptocurrency. So you must have heard about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Dogecoin, etc. So the technology that empowers all these cryptocurrency is blockchain. And this is the webinar, and this will the main core focus of this current webinar. So let's talk about history of blockchain first, because I feel to understand any technology or any concept for that matter, it's important to know the core or the root of that particular concept. So the advent of blockchain technology, as mentioned, is often known by the buzzword called Bitcoin. Bitcoin, just to give you a little idea, Bitcoin is basically a decentralized digital currency without a central bank or a single administrator, which means that a user to user experience with a peer to peer network. So there is no need of intermediary in it. So in this webinar, as mentioned, I would start only with blockchain. And just to give you, so basically, I'm not sure most of you know, but in 2007, the history saw it's one of the worst depreciation globally, not just in India, all over the world. So there was a need to amplify and use a distributed network rather than depending upon a central network for finance. So what happened was that due to there was some discrepancy in the American financial system, in the UK's financial system, the whole world saw biggest hit. Many jobs were gone, many economies were drowned up, and that's where in 2008, Satoshi Nakamoto, you can mention them as a person, you can mention them as a group, published their first white paper called Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Well, this was the starting point of using the technology of blockchain. So the implementation of the blockchain within Bitcoin made its first digital currency to solve the double spending problem without the need of a trusted authority or central server. When I say double spending problem means when I have money right now, it's currency. Who makes it? RBI makes it. But in Bitcoin, there is no one person. It's all distributed across the network of computers globally. So this implementation was a huge step. The revolution was huge. Cryptocurrencies were paving their ways in all parts of the world. And then in 2014, the birth of blockchain 2.0 happened, Ethereum. See, when I say Bitcoin, Bitcoin is just focusing on digital currency. But when I say Ethereum, Ethereum is that platform of blockchain where more and more applications could have been developed. Now you will ask me, enough of history. What is blockchain? What are you even talking about? So I will request Shreyanshi to switch on the next slide. All right. As you guys can see, there's a small slide in front of your eyes. So to be very, giving you in a very simple language, blockchain is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change or hack or cheat the system. So basically, blockchain is essentially a digital ledger of transactions that is distributed and duplicated across the entire network of computer systems on this particular chain called blockchain. So each block in the chain contains a number of transactions. You can imagine one block as a square. So this square has huge number of transactions. And every time a new transaction occurs on blockchain, a record of that transaction is added to every participant's ledger. The decentralized database is managed by multiple participants, and that is what is called distributed ledger technology. So basically, blockchain works on the ethos of distributed ledger technology. So let's understand what is distributed ledger technology as well. We can skip on the next slide, Shreyanshi. So distributed ledger technology refers to the technological infrastructure and protocols that allows simultaneous access, validation, and recording, updating in an immutable manner across a network that is spread across multiple entities or locations. This means that there is no central entity. So whatever data or whatever information is getting stored on a particular block in the form of transaction is spread across, which means not one person is hold of it. All the people who are basically called nodes in the technical term have access to these transactions, meaning that the chances of getting data stolen or getting data compromised are lessen up. So give the next slide would be giving you a diagram of how DLT looks like so that you can now understand what is a DLT. So Shriyanshi, can we skip on the next slide? Cool. So as you can see in this particular diagram, what is a centralized ledger? In between that, there is a small bank, and all the transactions or all the basic usage is done through the help of the central bank. However, in distributed ledger, there is no central entity. There are all the entities are separate and backed by each other, meaning that not one person or not one entity has the power. The power is distributed. So this makes the system a distributed ledger. So this is basically the model which blockchain has adopted. And this is the main technical front which we have discussed till now. And I would also like to explain you what are the different kinds of blockchain technology. I know most of you are lawyers or law students, but it's really important to understand the technology part of blockchain as well. I know most of the words I'm using could be sounding as jargons, but trust me, it's really important for you to understand the technology first, and then we can navigate the law side of it. So let's skip on the next slide. All right. And the next slide, Shangshi. All right, guys, you can see a small diagram here. So again, blockchain is divided into permissionless and permissioned blockchain. So first, I would be explaining you about public blockchain, that is a permissionless blockchain. So what is a public blockchain basically? A public blockchain is a non-restrictive, permissionless distributed ledger system, which means anyone who has access to the internet can sign in on a blockchain platform to become an authorized node or a user to become part of that network. So a node or a user who are part of this public blockchain are authorized to access current and past records, verify transactions, do proof of work for an incoming block, and do mining as well. So when I say mining or when I say incoming block, you must be getting confused. What is she talking about? So basically, when we say blockchain, as mentioned, more the blocks are added, that becomes, so let's say there is one block and there is second block, and then there are third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and the numbers go on forever. So this becomes the chain of blocks is basically blockchain. And the moment a new block is added, that's where the mining system, the proof of work happens. And these are quite technical concepts. I can share relevant links with you guys if you want to get into depth of it. But for legal front, this is enough. So the most basic use of public blockchain again is for mining and exchanging cryptocurrency. Let's say I want to invest in Bitcoin. I want to invest in Litecoins. So for me, public blockchain is the best. I can simply buy Bitcoin. I can get into the ledger and my work is done. So this is what a public blockchain is. It is a permissionless blockchain. One does not need any permission to navigate themselves into this kind of blockchain. Second would be a private blockchain. Now the word says private, so means it is a permission blockchain. So a private blockchain is a sort of a restrictive blockchain that operates only in a very closed network. Private blockchains are usually used within the organizations or enterprises where only selective member or participants are allowed to become part of this blockchain network. So guys, why is it done and what type of organizations are using it? So let's say I am a big organization, I am an IT company, and I do a lot of software launches. I do not want my HR team or my legal team to know about the code of that software. So in my blockchain, I would give permission to only the software engineering team and only the tech team of my company to become part of the blockchain and have access to that transaction or that information that is relevant. So the level of security, authorizations, permissions, accessibility is in my hand. Who am I? The controlling organization. So yes, it does hamper the whole ideology of the decentralized system, but it is still better than the traditional centralized system, because one has to be very transparent. If any transaction occurs, if any new change or new model is added into blockchain platform, each and every node or each and every participant would definitely have an idea about it, what is going on. So there is sense of transparency, and again, nothing can be cheated upon. So it is immutable. Immutable means that nobody can make any change on this. So this is basically a private blockchain. The small difference between public and private blockchain is simple. In private blockchain, there's a control user. However, in public blockchain, there is no particular control user. So the third type of blockchain, which is a very interesting one, as you can see in the middle of these diagram, there is a small circle of hybrid blockchain. So hybrid blockchain is simple. It is combination of both private and public blockchain. It uses the features of both types of blockchain. That is, one can have a private permission-based system as well as public permissionless system as well. With such a hybrid network, users can control who gets access to which data stored in blockchain. So only a selected section of data or records from the blockchain can be allowed to go public, keeping the rest confidential in the private network. So the hybrid system of blockchain is very flexible. So users can easily join the private blockchain with multiple public blockchains as well. So this means that any information that is relevant for the public have access to it. But any information for an organization that is relevant only for the people, maybe it could be their employees, it could be their legal team, they have access to it. And the last type of blockchain is the consortium blockchain. Again, it comes under the permissioned ones. So there is definitely a need of permission needed in consortium blockchain. So it is a semi-decentralized type where more than one organization manages a blockchain network. So this is contrary to what we saw in private blockchain, right? Which is managed by only one single organization. Here, more than one organization can act as a node in this type of blockchain and exchange information or do mining. So consortium blockchain are mostly used by banks, government organizations, etc. So this means that not just one, but 2 to 3 organizations are conjoining together to start their own type of blockchain platform. So these are basically your types of blockchain, which is very important for you to understand. Next, we can go on the characteristics of blockchain.
Ashna, I think we have some questions in the Q&A box first, so we'll address a couple of them before we move on to the next slide, if that's okay.
Sure.
So somebody asked a question. Can you show some images of ledgers as a reference?
Can we go on the DLT diagram?
Okay.
Probably it is the third or fourth slide.
Just give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So guys, can you see the distributed ledger diagram? So if you see these small circles or these small icons, they act as ledger. So I would also definitely try to show you a diagram right now, but these circle act as ledger. So in centralized, if you see on a centralized ledger, there is one bank that is handling the transactions with separate entities. But here there is no one entity. All the transactions or all the entities are distributed on a network of computer who are, and they're also called as nodes. So there is a sense of transparency, and then there is also a sense of independency amongst these ledgers who act as separate entities as well. So this is a very simple diagram for any law student to understand. But if you really want to understand how a ledger looks like, what kind of coding is done, so definitely I would love to share some more content or some more images on it later on. But this is a basic and very simple analogy or example of a distributed ledger.
Okay. The next question is how to essentially differentiate between the conventional centralized system and permission blockchain.
Yes, I knew this was coming. See, I understand that when it comes to permission blockchain, we are sort of going away from the whole reason why distributed ledger technology was used by blockchain. But the main major difference between a centralized traditional system, which we have been using for years, and even right now we are using, is the lack of transparency. The central entity can do whatever they want and give us the information however they want us to see. But in even if it's a permissioned ledger, I understand they would show you the information only if you are part of that blockchain. But that information would be transparent. There would be no discrepancy. If I am, let's say, if I am the controller, and if I am making any transaction, if I'm making any changes to any ledger or to any transaction, it will be noted and it will be known by you. This means that you, though I am a controller, but you're also the controller of this blockchain. That if any changes happen, you can hold me charge of it. But in our traditional system, banks can do whatever they want, government can do whatever they want. If they're making any changes, how would we know? But on blockchain platform, any change made would be reflected or would be shown on the system.
Okay. I think let's take one more question before we proceed with this slide. Then we'll come to these questions again later in a bit. Was Bitcoin a permission blockchain to begin with?
No, no. Bitcoin is a public blockchain, 100% public blockchain. As mentioned, anybody can become part of the Bitcoin blockchain. All you have to do is buy a Bitcoin if one can afford in this climate. But yes, it's a public blockchain. Anybody have access to it. There's a certain way, however, you need to get into that side of blockchain. But yes, it's a public blockchain. If one, let's say, one has no intention to buy a particular Bitcoin, you can also do the process of mining, which anybody can do. Even I can become a miner. So mining means that I'm entering into this public blockchain, and once a ledger is added, I am cracking a whole mathematical algorithm. So I become a miner and I get a small percentage of that Bitcoin. So anybody can do it if you are good at tech.
Okay. Um, Ashna, thank you for answering these questions. I know we have quite a few more still open, but we'll come to them later. So the attendees, please don't worry. We will answer your questions. If you have any other doubts or whatever, please put them on the Q&A box because it's a little difficult to track it in the chat box. If you are raising your hand, you can put that question in the Q&A box as well. I promise you we will answer all these questions before the session ends. We'll just take it up in a little periodic manner. So don't worry, we will get back to you about it. Ashna, we'll continue with the slide.
Yes, please. So we can go towards the characteristics of blockchain. All right. So guys, as mentioned, blockchain is something which is tamper proof. There is a sense of better security. It is immutable. There is trusted time stamping. Of course, there is a whole technical reason why that happens. So why I would say it has a better security is because there is not even a single chance of shutting down of the system. So even the highest level of the financial system in our world are subjected to get hacked. So the reason why the better security is that the system is distributed on a whole network of computers across the globe. Let's say even one computer gets shut down, the other XYZ, or I don't know the number, even like it's huge, would not stop working. So there is sense of security as well maintained on blockchain. And why I would say immutable, because immutable ledger is basically one of the most biggest USP which blockchain has to offer. Any database that we are using that is a centralized database is subjected to get hacked. So they require trust in the third party to keep the database secure. What blockchain does is it gives us a combination of cryptography and hashing. So each transaction that is verified by the blockchain network is timestamped and embedded into a block of information, meaning that any transaction that happens, the whole nodes or the whole users verify it, then timestamp it, and then the transaction gets into the block. So Cryptographically also, it is secured by a hashing process that links to and incorporates the hash of the previous block and joins the chain as the next chronological update. I know I gave a lot of technical terms, so I would also give you a little idea of what hashing means. So it's a very simple concept. So hashing is a very common term. Generally, if you ask any software engineer friend of yours or any tech friend of yours, so basically hashing refers to the transformation and generation of input of any data length into a string of fixed size, which is performed by a specific algorithm. So generally, it's a whole maths, right? Just imagine a cryptographical hash function is a mathematical algorithm that maps data of any arbitrary size to a bit or a fixed size. So due to this high number of mathematical algorithm, the complexities of the computation that happens on each block makes the whole blockchain very, I mean, very secure and very tamper proof. And as mentioned, if I am putting any data or if I'm making any change to a ledger, it is changes per se not possible, because once I put anything on blockchain, there is no sense. It cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. It does make the whole system very rigid. So this is the beauty of blockchain platform, that the system is highly rigid because you can't make any alteration, but it also works in our favor, making the platform very secure. In spite of that, the whole system actually can get hacked. So let's say if any hacker can get hold of 51% of the whole blockchain system, your blockchain would be hacked there and that. This is generally called 51% attack. But it's not very simple. To hack blockchain, you need to hack a proper mathematical computational algorithm, which has chances of 1 in a million times. So it's not very simple to hack a blockchain, and especially in private blockchain, it is not at all possible to hack a private blockchain. Yes, public blockchains can be hacked, but again, the whole security and the whole narrative depends upon the code. You must have heard blockchain is backed by a certain set of languages. I know that Python is used. So if a coder is putting in their code very intense and very strong, the chances of getting blockchain hampered would be decreased. So guys, again, this was the tech part. And but now we would be focusing on the legal front of this new age technology, which is why you're here for. Enough of the tech gyan which I have given till now. Let's navigate into the legal front of blockchain. All right, guys. So blockchain and law has a beautiful relationship. There, there could be five, six, seven chain of webinars we can do just focusing on blockchain and law. If I start to amplify each and every topic. So today I will be giving a very basic knowledge, very general level knowledge of you guys on blockchain and its relationship with law. So first, I would start with smart contracts. Many of you must have heard what are smart contracts. Many of you must have heard smart contracts and Ethereum. So Ethereum, as I mentioned, is a type of blockchain which came in 2014 by Vitalik Buterin. This was a new age revolution of blockchain. So Ethereum started using smart contracts in this system. So right now, as you all are law students, you know that contracts are written with physical signatures. So there is a need, a significant amount of time to accomplish a binding legal agreement. So due to the manual processing of the legal documentation, blockchain can bring an end, making the legal documentation more accessible and more transparent. So by creating a contract which can automatically execute based on when a specific requirements are met, the cost and friction of generating and securing legal agreements are reduced. So in very simpler terms, smart contracts are basically computer code that is stored inside of a blockchain, which is encoding contractual agreements. So these are self-executing contracts with the terms of agreements or operation directly written into the codes stored and executed on blockchain platform. This means that there is no need of a third party. However, there are more ideal or simpler contracts where there could be a need of a third party advisor, but generally in smart contracts it's very simple. Once a code is entered or once a code is added, depending upon the TNCs or the terms and conditions and the or any objection, any clause one has to put in a contract is entered into a code. Once that obligation or once the whole terms and conditions are met, the contract is executed. There is a small downside to smart contracts are that, again, as I mentioned, it's you cannot alter anything in blockchain. So it becomes really difficult to alter a smart contract. So I would say very simple and basic contracts can be put in the form of smart contracts. But when we say any contract that is dependent on a situation that is unforeseen, where there is a lot of human element is needed, in companies it's very simple, in organizations and entities, but when there is a human to human contract, anything can happen, and that's where smart contract could be a small downside. But with big organizations it's doing wonders, and that's why they are saying the code becomes the law, because you're putting the law into the code and the code is executing the whole contract. As you can see in the images, the parties meet, the smart contract is made, and the execution happens. In short, lawyers are per se not needed when the contract is happening. Lawyers are needed. So there's an interesting element which I would like to add in here is, as a lawyer, when you're working on smart contract, is it's good to have knowledge of coding, because once a code happens, once you're putting in terms and conditions or giving in clause or giving in any kind of agreements which your client is asking for, you can get that particular elements added into the code and then get your smart contract executed for your client. So this is a very simple definition of smart contracts. We would love to do another webinar on smart contracts as well. I wouldn't go in very depth of it, but yes, feel free to ask any questions. Let's go into the next slide. Intellectual property rights. Many of you have seen this monkey in the past few weeks. So this ape was sold for $3,000, which is a huge amount for this drawing. But guys, this is where blockchain is getting used in NFTs, also called as non-fungible tokens. So what are NFTs? NFTs are basically your cryptographic tokens that can be used to represent unique property on blockchain. So NFT standards allow for robust property rights and schemes in the digital realm. With blockchain, creators of a product or piece of content can upload, register, and timestamp their original work on a public ledger to create an undeniable proof of ownership. So anybody who made this ape certainly made a timestamp, and once they added into onto the blockchain platform, the ownership happened there and that. So from there, a blockchain-based IP enforcement system could help creators monitor exactly how and by whom the creations are being used. Let's say this particular ape came up on a system and I want to buy this or I want to use this. That's where the blockchain system would help me, and I would have to pay for this NFT. So guys, this is a very huge difference between Bitcoin blockchain and NFT blockchain is, in Bitcoin blockchain, the basic specification of Bitcoin never changes. It's one. You're just minting Bitcoin on every transaction. But in NFT, it's a unique property on blockchain. So anytime you're putting in an NFT, it has to be unique. Then only the blockchain platform would accept it. Again, it's a very interesting topic, but would love to speak more about it later. Right now, just going into the basics so that you can understand how blockchain and law are indulging their relationship in 2020, post 2020 world. So let's go on the next slide. So guys, this is my favorite way how blockchain is getting used in chain of custody. You all know, as lawyers or as law students, chain of custody is a very complex part. So it is the process of handling evidence from the time it is collected until the time it is presented as evidence in court of law. It's a very exhaustive process and it's very elaborated. So evidence exchanges hands numerous times, interested parties log evidence in and out of storage, physically signs the form, then create a paper trail to record its movement. So unfortunately, this process creates several opportunities for nefarious actors to taint the evidence, meaning that your evidence can be hampered, it can be altered, it can be compromised. So basically, utilizing blockchain technology, one can generate and track a unique evidence token for every time a data is collected, received, and stored in an auditable way on a public or private blockchain. So, guys, I'm going to give you a very small example to make you understand what I'm talking about when I say chain of custody. So, in few years back in China, there was a big case that happened. So, in China, TikTok is called Douyin. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correct, but let's call it TikTok only, since we all know it by that name. So there was this video which was used by another video creating website in China, and they claimed it to be theirs. However, the original video was made on TikTok. So there was a huge battle between these two organizations that who owns this video. What TikTok did and what this organization didn't do is TikTok used to store their videos on a blockchain platform. So what they did to the court is that I was saving this video on a blockchain platform, and the court knew the whole characteristics, the whole ideology which blockchain has to offer. That since there is a trusted timestamp, since there is originality, since there is proof of ownership, the case was won by TikTok. So there was a transparency of the evidence. Nobody could question the evidence. There was timestamping, and hence the case was won. This is where blockchain was used, and there are many other ways as well which blockchain is used in terms of law, but these are just the small examples, are very basic examples which I am giving you. So even a first year law student can gauge their interest towards understanding the intersection of blockchain and law. So, Shriyanshu, do you want to take questions right now, or should I proceed with the next part?
We should take questions right now.
Yeah, we have
Just some,
a lot of questions.
yeah, quite a lot of them.
All right.
So I'll go with the first question given on the Q&A box. How does blockchain technology, how has it affected the human rights realm?
Interesting one. How blockchain technology. So, I mean, definitely there is a huge cost when it comes to blockchain. Blockchain is playing a huge role in our society right now. There is a big cost needed when one has to start blockchain, and that's where the energy, the money is getting used. But per se, human rights concern around blockchain, I mean, for now, there is a positive impact only. However, I remember I was reading this article where in 2020, so there was this alliance that was led by Accenture and Microsoft that included UN agencies, NGOs, and government, who pointed out that in a lot of situations, mass displacement and mass disenfranchisement happen. So means the lack of legal identity results in being denied or delayed access to services as well. So blockchain, this was a major impact that happened in terms of human rights realm. And another issue with blockchain, with that is the reason why India is adamant to accept blockchain is the money laundering. It's really hard to understand. It's really hard to track ID of a particular person on blockchain, and that's why people are arguing not to per se adopt it 100% in the current climate, because anything can happen on darknet. You can buy anything on darknet through Bitcoin, and no, your ID cannot be traced, right? So yes, this is a major downside, or this is a major flaw, we can say, when it comes to blockchain. But yes, potentially, of course, UN would be working upon it. I see there is a small comment coming up in the chat box. The UN is talking about using blockchain for sustainable development. Blockchain itself soon that is owing to its carbon footprint and massive energy utilization. I agree, Megha, but see, this is the world we are living in right now. Definitely, blockchain has a huge environmental impact too. but the level of transactions that happens on blockchain, or the level of networking it is doing, it is connecting the world together. What is Bitcoin doing? If I earned Bitcoin in India, and if X person earned Bitcoin in USA, the value is same. So it is connecting the whole world together, and definitely this is a huge downside. And while organizations are using blockchain, they should definitely put in hand that the sustainability should be there. The cost or the carbon footprint they are creating should be validated or should be reduced. Maybe we could urge this to tech people to stop creating such kind of impact and do a more sustainable model in terms of blockchain. So probably yes.
Okay, the next question, Ashna. How is the cryptocurrency created on the basis of ledger transactions?
How is the I'm not able to get this question. How is the cryptocurrency created on basis of ledger transaction? See, there is blockchain is a very simple system. Blockchain is a distributed ledger technology where anybody and anyone, you can use blockchain to create any application, any website as well. And then there is Bitcoin blockchain. As I mentioned, there are different types of blockchain as well. There is Bitcoin blockchain, there is Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum blockchain is where you can use it to utilize it into medical line, into banking line, into law, into chain of custody. But in Bitcoin, blockchain is 100% dedicated to just creation of cryptocurrency or creation of Bitcoin cryptocurrency. It's a very separate system from Ethereum. The only difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin blockchain, why we cannot create any platform using Bitcoin blockchain, is that on Ethereum blockchain, there is a smart contract, and any organization needs contract when they want to develop their system. So this is a very niche technical explanation which we can get into, but I feel if you are interested, you can definitely navigate into understanding what is Bitcoin blockchain, what is Ethereum blockchain. So you can understand the tech part of it.
Okay. Can you give an example of hybrid blockchain?
Hybrid blockchain, yes. Hybrid blockchain, I feel IBM is doing it. So I can definitely share this link as well, maybe perhaps later on. So IBM is using it to, pursue it into food chain supply. So what they're doing is they are using it for their finance team or for their production team. They have permissioned ledgers, and for their farmers or for their supply managers, etc., they have it publicly. So they're using a model of for food supply that could be very transparent, that could be very sustainable as well, because everybody have access to it. But very intense or very finance related transactions are just kept for their production team or finance team.
In a private blockchain, we observe a central authority managing the blockchain. Then how can we say it's decentralized?
Well, that is why it's called a private blockchain. It's not a public blockchain. One person is controlling blockchain, but again, I would like to explain it is a very transparent system, not like your traditional banking or government. If I'm making any changes as a controller, if I'm adding any ledger, all the nodes who are called users within the blockchain would have access to it. So it's technically, I understand it is hampering the whole ideology why blockchain was made, but it is not that bad. That's why it's called a public blockchain.
I think this might be the last question we take up for now, and then we'll take up more questions later.
I see a very interesting question. Can we take that one?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Right, just a second. We're getting a lot of messages. Guys, put a question in the Q&A box. It gets really hard. So which codes lawyers should learn for smart contracts, and what is the role of lawyers in smart contracts? I feel these are very realistic questions, Rashi and Garima. Thank you for your questions. So guys, lawyers play a huge role. Tech people or coders don't know what is law. Lawyers know law, right? So if there is a team, if there is an organization that deals with smart contracts, it is the role of lawyers to explain the ideology, the whole clauses, the whole terms and conditions which their client require, to embed that into the code. And the coding which you can learn, maybe as a lawyer would be Python, Java, C. It'll be really interesting if you can know those codes, so you won't be dependent upon a coder to execute a smart contract. But it's not very important. It's fine. Most of these organizations real time have technical engineers, software engineers to do that. Your role would be to have a basic knowledge of blockchain, smart contracts, and giving them a very specific, detailed terms and conditions. Because as I mentioned, once a clause is given, once terms and conditions are given, it cannot be altered. So make sure what you are giving to the coder, what you are communicating or embedding into the code, just be very careful, because the code is the law here right now. Your client would be pissed off if the any term or any condition or any clause was missed out. So just beware with the smart contracts.
Ashna, do you think we have time to take one more question right now before we proceed?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So there's a question which goes, is mining essentially getting more people, aka transactors, on the blockchain?
Guys, it's a very, see, Gitika, it's a very technical question. Mining essentially getting more people. Mining, see, guys, don't get confused. As I mentioned, mining is used on a Bitcoin blockchain. This webinar is about only blockchain. Blockchain backs Bitcoin. If this is a Bitcoin, the technology that goes behind this Bitcoin is blockchain. So the system of mining is completely different than what question you're asking, Gitika. It's very different than what you're asking. Yes, mining needs a lot of computational power, and the mathematical algorithm is very complex. So not any layman can become a miner. You need to have a very specific knowledge of tech and maths to become a miner if you want to be part of blockchain. If you're investing in blockchain, let's say in any crypto, it's very different thing. But if you want to become a miner, a combination of technical knowledge and mathematical knowledge is needed. Avaz, am I audible, guys? Shranshi, am I audible? Okay.
Yeah, you're audible. I can hear you.
Okay. So, guys, not everybody can do it. Not any person on this planet have knowledge of maths and technology together. So there are only rare people who have understanding of both the concepts, and that's when they become miners, and that's why they're becoming rich people by doing mining. So I wouldn't say that I would discourage you to become a miner. You can try your luck, but very high level of maths, high level of technology is needed to become a miner.
Okay. I think there is one more question. I think let's just take that up. It's related to mining since we're talking about it. Somebody is asking what is mining and how to mine.
Man, it's a very technical question. I would love to take a legal question, Shreyanshi. Like, I can definitely give out links, but I would love to take a legal, like law and blockchain related question. It'll be really
Okay.
nice.
Ashna, I think maybe before we proceed with the Q&A, the portion, the surprise portion that we have, maybe in that
Yes,
time you can maybe sort of compile the links and then we can share that with the learner attendees.
done. Done.
Okay. I think let's just take one law question before we go ahead. Rahul's asking a question: what work can lawyers do in blockchain company apart from smart contracts?
Amazing, Rahul. Actually, I would love for you to stick on, because the next segment, the last segment, will be about this. My idea of giving this webinar, and even Lawctopus idea of giving this webinar, is not just to give you a very niche knowledge of blockchain basic, but to actually help you understand how you can actually become a blockchain lawyer. When we go to a law school, we understand criminal law, we understand corporate law, but how do we execute it in real life? So this is what the webinar would be talking about towards the end. And please be sticked.
Okay. There are a bunch of other questions on the Q&A box. We do see them and we will answer each and every one of them. So please stick around till the end. We'll take up all your questions. Don't worry. So I think we'll just proceed with the PPT for now. We'll come back to the questions later.
All right, so we'll go for the. So guys, this section would be focusing on blockchain regulation around the world. It's a small tour which I'm going to take you. We'll be talking about 4 countries. Can we skip on the next slide? US, Estonia, Switzerland, and UK. So let's talk about Switzerland first. It's a very beautiful country. Apart from that, it's a great country and becoming a leading hub for blockchain technology. They are doing a lot of research, creating a lot of business solutions around this technology. But when it comes to law, the Swiss parliament is following a suit where they are adopting to propose this DLT Act, also called Distributed Ledger Technology Act, unanimously. The DLT Act was basically, I mean, put in the parliament in 2021, who aims to ensure legal certainty and to foster innovation for blockchain based projects. There is no specific comprehensive regulation that is exclusively addressing the use of blockchain technology or virtual currencies or cryptocurrencies in Switzerland. However, the Swiss financial regulatory framework in particular is generally principle based and technology neutral, eschewing overly prescriptive of detailed rules. So basically, they're not per se putting in a law only dedicated to blockchain, and honestly, it is not needed. They are creating a very general approach so that any blockchain based innovation or any blockchain based startup can easily foster or easily build up in this country to. And I feel with blockchain, for countries like Switzerland, it's a great way to start up a new system of tech innovation sector in their country. So this is what Switzerland has been doing. They are pretty positive for blockchain. USA, on the other hand, always has this approach. They do case by case enforcement when it comes to blockchain technology. I have read a lot of cases in US when it comes to blockchain, and for each case, they have a different approach. They don't have any set approach when it comes to blockchain. They don't have any set regulations specifically that are entertaining blockchain cases. But the US definitely gives a general acknowledgement that blockchain technology is a very important part of their objective to remain in the forefront of the innovation. So they also so there are a lot of state-wise policy that keeps coming up related to blockchain. There's Minnesota, there's New York, Vermont. They keep introducing a lot of bills, a lot of acts which are state-wise. But to enact a central law or like a central regulatory authority related to blockchain, it's yet to come. But in 2022, very recently, looking at the current climate of what is happening in the world, the President Biden, he signed an executive order which is 100% dedicated and elaborating on blockchain technology and DLT, that is distributed ledger technology. He is urging the whole federal system to explore the central bank upon creating their own digital currency. They also focus on cryptocurrency regulation in the country and even updating the existing US financial regulation to address the cryptocurrency usage in US. So they are yet to come out with a blockchain law or with a blockchain regulation. But looking at this executive order signed by the president himself, probably this year end, we could see a proper regulatory framework or any legal framework coming up from USA. Definitely, they are in terms of creating their own digital currency or putting dollar into digitally. But let's see what future holds for the US. Next would be United Kingdom. So UK, there is no, again, in UK, there's no specific legislation or regulatory rules addressing blockchain technology. However, the FCA, also called the Financial Conduct Authority, has prohibited the marketing, distribution, or sale in or from the UK to all retail clients of derivatives and exchange traded notes that reference certain types of unregulated transferable crypto assets. So per se, they are not accepting cryptocurrency or blockchain in any way right now. Guys, as I mentioned, most of the countries are just talking about the cryptocurrency right now. They are not per se acknowledging the word blockchain as of now as well. But looking at USA and Switzerland, talking about the word blockchain means that there is a signal or there is a path of accepting this technology into the real time, because this is not a very close technology. It's not like machine learning or data science or data analytics. This technology is a public technology. If used in daily lives, it could clearly change the whole spectrum of the world. So US and Switzerland have been very generous talking about it in 2022, but UK is still behind. Estonia, it's a very small country in Europe. I would For all the blockchain lovers, this could be our destination. They are doing immense work when it comes to blockchain. So recently in Estonia, they have proposed a whole regulation, a whole draft legislation focusing on DLT and blockchain. They will be also focusing on virtual assets as well, crypto assets as well, digital wallets. And why they are doing it right now is because the biggest drawback when it comes to cryptocurrency is money laundering. They want to curb that in their country, and that is the reason why legislation is coming up. And this is why probably US is also thinking to regulate cryptocurrency, or thinking to regulate or even talk about blockchain per se. So this is what these four countries are doing. If you are interested, many countries like China, there's Singapore, there's UAE, they're doing a lot in blockchain space. If you're interested, we would love to do a webinar focusing only about blockchain and world regulations next time. But for now, these are the four countries which are doing some pretty good work when it comes to blockchain. And I gave UK as a bad example because they're not doing a lot. So 3 versus 1, Estonia, Switzerland, US, great work. UK, still a lot to happen. So guys, let's come up to the next slide. So guys, I've been talking about cryptocurrency for a while, so I would not be stressing a lot on this section. Just to give you a little knowledge of what is cryptocurrency. So much like cryptocurrency, much like Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency is also a buzzword. So guys, let me give you an example. What is like what is the example of cryptocurrency? There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum. So definition of cryptocurrency is basically uh, cryptography is a technique of protecting information by transforming it, that means encrypting it into an unreadable format that can only be deciphered by someone who possesses a secret key, which means that I have an information, I changed it into an encryption which only X person or Y person can read it. So it's a very closed system. It's a very protected system. And this is the model which cryptocurrency uses, as the word say, crypto and currency. So let's go on the next slide, Shangshi. So the much awaited word which you guys must be waiting for me to talk about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is usually described as a virtual, decentralized, and anonymous currency that is not government backed. There is no legal entity, and it cannot be exchanged into any rupee, dollar, or pound. And it was first published on the internet in 2008 with the name of the white paper, which I discussed in the initial part of this webinar. So it was the basis of this text, the white paper which Satoshi Nakamoto had published, the Bitcoin system came up. So contributing to the mystic nature of Bitcoin, that until now it remains unclear whether Satoshi Nakamoto is a real person, whether it's a pseudonym, or it could be a group of hackers as well. So this is very simple. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer network of currency that can be exchanged amongst the whole nodes or the whole systems spread across the world on a distributed network. So let's go on the next slide. Ethereum, guys, Ethereum is by far it is the most used blockchain platform that is used by the world to create different platforms related to blockchain. So it is a decentralized blockchain platform that establishes a peer-to-peer network that securely executes and verifies application code called smart contracts. I've already talked about smart contracts. So smart contracts are allowing participants to transact with each other with a trusted central authority, that is your Ethereum. Transaction records are immutable, they are verifiable, and securely distributed across the network, giving participants full ownership and visibility into the transaction data. So transactions are sent from and received by user-created Ethereum accounts. A sender must also sign transactions and spend Ether. So Ether is your cryptocurrency which Ethereum has to offer. So it is Ethereum's native cryptocurrency, which is a cost of processing transactions on the network. So These are the two much talked about cryptocurrency in the world, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Of course, there's Litecoins, Dogecoins, Ripple, etc., which you can read about. Can we go on the next slide? So India and cryptocurrency. Can we go on the next slide? Perfect. So guys, there's a whole saga which I always say India has a love-hate relationship with cryptocurrency. In between 2013 to 2017, the Reserve Bank of India issued a circular warning the public against the use of virtual currency, outrightly warning people that don't use virtual currency, creating a big havoc. And this was a phase which government was going through understanding. This was the very first phase when Ethereum was also getting developed. A lot of people in India started talking about Bitcoins and all. I was probably in my first year when I was in 2013. I was also introduced with darknet, and that's when I read about cryptocurrency, because the currency which is used on darknet or deep web is Bitcoin, and that's why the government was very scared to even talk about cryptocurrency. They're not even using the word cryptocurrency right here. Let's go on the next phase. So 2018 to 2020, in March 2018, the Central Board of Digital Tax submitted a draft scheme to the Finance Ministry for banning virtual currency. They are still not using the word cryptocurrency. A month later, RBI issued a circular that restrained banks and financial institutions from providing financial services to virtual currency exchanges. So RBI had outrightly banned virtual currency exchanges, meaning that, guys, there is no space for cryptocurrency in India as of now. And then pandemic happened in 2020. Let's see what happened in 2021. So high level interministerial committee was constituted under the chairmanship of secretary to study the issues related to virtual currency and propose specific actions that can be taken in the matter, to recommend in its report that all private cryptocurrency except any virtual currency issued by the state will be prohibited in India. So this is what finance minister had said on Rajya Sabha, and let's see what happened in 2022. So interesting year. It was the budget came in. The finance minister had talked about cryptocurrency, imposing 30% tax on cryptocurrency that is embarking a huge debate on the status of cryptocurrency in India, saying that they also said any private cryptocurrency would be banned in this country. Does that mean that Bitcoin is banned in India, Ethereum is banned in India? It's still a question. The government is also planning to introduce a digital currency bill. They're also thinking to, start up their own digital cryptocurrency that will be focusing on Indian rupee. But again, these are just hearsay. Nothing has come out yet. Only these two things have happened: 30% tax on cryptocurrency, and second, outrightly banning all the private cryptocurrency in India. So we can go on the next slide. So guys, this is my favorite part. We would be talking about a very practical approach. Is there a market for blockchain lawyers in India? Is outrightly banning crypto correct step? Do we need to draw a streamlined bill or regulation, since about 7.9% of population of this country has invested in crypto, and there are over 300 plus startups in India focusing on crypto and blockchain? First things first, guys, looking at the numbers, yes, there is a big market for blockchain lawyers in India. Um, you need to have, so there was a video which Lawctopus had also posted. You can check out that video to understand how you can become a blockchain lawyer in India. We can put up a link in the chat. But guys, you need to have basic knowledge of blockchain. You need to have technical knowledge of blockchain as well. You cannot outrightly become a blockchain lawyer on the face of it. Like, I'm a lawyer. I saw a couple webinars. I saw a couple videos, and now I know what is blockchain. No, you need months and months of practice, months and months of reading. You need to become a blockchain nerd. You can definitely become a blockchain lawyer. You can become a freelancer for now. As you can see, a lot of these countries like Switzerland or Singapore, Estonia are doing a lot of blockchain and law related work. You can probably apply for freelance positions, internships in these countries that can help you giving a practical exposure of blockchain and law. But looking at the numbers in India, it could be a huge market, because once any organization comes up, whether it's a fintech firm, whether it's a blockchain firm, there is a need of lawyers. The company needs to understand what kind of licensing, what kind of ICOs, what kind of laws these organizations have to follow when they are starting up their organization. That's when a blockchain lawyer or a fintech lawyer could help these institutions. A lot of people are investing in crypto. That would become a conflict of interest in future as well. Again, you guys who are the blockchain lawyers would be taken help of. Bitcoin is worth a lot of dollars, so a lot of money is involved, and wherever there is money involved, there is dispute involved. And once a dispute happens, us lawyers, we come into the frame. I definitely see there is a huge potential for blockchain and law in academia as well. You can check out many research papers, many articles that are getting published across the world in Harvard, Stanford, in Canada. But again, guys, it's a very academic approach. Even if you want a practical approach in life, you have to read these articles, you have to understand these research papers, because in-depth knowledge of blockchain is needed. Law, you're doing 5 years law school or 3 year law school, whatever law school you are attending or you have attended, have given you knowledge of law. But blockchain could be a very new concept if you are alienated to science or tech or maths. So, guys, this is a very practical approach which we talked about right now. And this was the webinar. Let's see the questions. And I'm pretty sure we have some interesting questions, Shreyanshi.
Yes. So before we proceed with the Q&A, and there is a lot of them, I want to tell our attendees here about the surprise we have for them. In the meantime, Ashna will be compiling some resources that she would like to share with all of you while I present this surprise to all. So please stick around till the end of this webinar. All your questions will be answered then, and Ashna will be sharing all the resources by the end of this webinar. So just please hang around for a while. I'll just quickly share my screen regarding my portion. So this is a very interesting update I have for all of you. Now that all of you have heard about what it takes to be a blockchain lawyer, the amount of studying that you need to do, the amount of preparation that takes, is my screen visible? Yeah. So just to tell you all about how you can become better blockchain lawyers and how you can actually start your journey on becoming a blockchain lawyer, we have an offering for you. Lawctopus Law School is organizing a course on technology, media, and telecommunication law. And it starts from the 20th of March. It is starting next week. So you can register for it and you can learn about blockchain. Ashna is teaching us about blockchain and law in this course, and she will be going in depth into this. Since this webinar was on the basics, we have a module on blockchain, on cryptocurrency, on fintech, which goes into the basics and in-depth information about blockchain and law, and generally the blockchain technology. So this is the first course in India which actually has material on blockchain. It is a very updated course. No other course in India has anything content on blockchain so far. So do enroll for it. You will definitely get to know a lot about blockchain and other areas of technology, media, and telecommunication law if you register for this course. It is a very upcoming area. TMT is everywhere. It's in the digital age. We use TMT everywhere. And this course will teach you anything and everything about TMT from a practical point of view. TMT means technology, media, and telecommunication. So all laws relating to technology, media, and telecommunication will be taught to you in this course. I'll just tell you what all this course covers. So it will give you a very strong foundational knowledge of what TMT laws are. It will tell you about the different laws in this area. It will tell you about media laws. It will tell you about fintech regulations, cryptocurrencies. It will talk about privacy and data protection, e-commerce, intermediary liabilities, content moderation, telecom regulations, media and entertainment laws. And you will also learn about emerging technologies like drones, AR, VR, IoT, blockchain, etc. Like there is so much to learn from this course, and it's a very updated course. So the material gets updated constantly to sort of move with the times. And you will be taught by industry experts. We have Ashna teaching us. We have Arpita Desai teaching us, who is currently studying at the Fletcher Tufts University. And she has worked with Shardul Amarchand, Mangaldas, and Trilegal. We have Aditya Yachit teaching us, who's currently working at Vidhi, and he has worked at Khaitan, Trilegal, and Amarchand. So we have a lot of industry experts in teaching us in this TMT course. So if you're really interested in it, I would just like to tell you more perks about it. This course is completely self-paced. You can do it online. There are reading modules available. There are 8 modules on these different topics. You will be given an assignment also, which tests your knowledge and advisory and application skills. There's an online forum where you can resolve your doubts or any questions you might have, and even connect with your peers and network with them. And of course, you will have a very warm, caring, and very great learning experience provided by us from Lawctopus. So these are definitely some perks to consider. And we definitely want to make you industry ready so that you can have internships at TMT law firms. That is the aim that we have through this course. So if you want to know more, you can visit courses.lawctopus.com/learn-tmt laws. Please visit this website if you want to enroll for the course. I'll put the link on the chat box as well. And as a surprise for all of you who are the attendees here, you get a 15% waiver or a discount on the fees for this course if you use the coupon code TMT15. So if you use this coupon code TMT15, you will get a 15% discount on the enrollment fee for this course. All right. So definitely consider registering for this course. It's going to be a great one. For any queries, you can definitely reach out to our career counselor, Snigdha. Her number is given on the screen. Now, I wanted to tell you about the course on technology, media, telecommunications, since it focuses on blockchain and other aspects relating to technology law. But for all of you who are interested in contracts, smart contracts, who are interested in more about how contract works and the implication of technology on that, we have another course on offer for you. So that course is the contract drafting and the negotiation course. That course begins from the 1st of April and it goes on till the 30th of May. In this course, we will teach you about drafting, reviewing, negotiating contracts. You will be learning about the substance of a contract, probability of a dispute, fundamentals of contract drafting from a very practical point of view. Again, we have industry experts taking this course who have law firm experience, in-house experience, and they will tell you all about the processes and the techniques of contract drafting and negotiation. They will tell you about contractual instruments, anatomy of a contract, the clauses, execution process. You will even get to practice your negotiation skills here by doing a mock negotiation exercise. You have a lot of recorded lectures as well as text modules, which will help you understand the basics of contract drafting and negotiation. And we will even tell you how you can make money through contract drafting and negotiation. If you're interested in smart contracts, if you're interested in technology, law, how contract works, these two courses, the TMT course and the contract drafting negotiation course, these are two separate courses. These two separate courses will give you an idea about how you can become a better lawyer in terms of contract drafting and a better technology lawyer. So these are some great resources you can definitely consider to improve your journey in the world of TMT law and contract law. These courses will definitely help you in your journey to be better lawyers. Again, these courses are self-paced, they are online, there are live sessions, there are exercises, we have an online forum, we have an assignment also where you draft a contract. So it's quite comprehensive in how we teach this course. If you want to learn more, you can definitely visit this link. I'm going to put the link on the chat box. And again, as a surprise gift for all of you, since you have attended this webinar, we are offering a 10% waiver or a discount if you enroll for the CDN course. The code is LEARN10. So for the TMT course, it is TMT15. For this course, it is LEARN10. So you can use these coupon codes to enroll for the courses and get a discount. Now, if you have any queries, you can reach out to Snigdha, who's our career counselor. She will definitely help you out with this. I will give her number again on the chat box so that all of you can access it easily. Some benefits of doing these courses: you get a certificate of completion, you get you even get a letter of recommendation if you're a top learner, and of course it's self-paced, so you save time, and you get all this learning at a really cool price and at a really, with a great learning experience that comes with Lawctopus. Now, for those who are interested in getting certificates for this webinar, now we usually don't provide certificates for webinars. Our policy is that we want you to attend the webinar for your knowledge and insights and not to get a certificate out of it. But if you still really need a certificate to show your university or as a proof of the work you've done, we do provide a certificate on request. So you have to pay a logistics fee of INR 100 after this webinar. You can visit this link to make the payment. And when you're visiting, when you open this link, there is a form you have to fill up. In the form, you have to enter a certificate generation code. The certificate generation code is called blockchain in big caps. Okay. So this is the code that is required to avail the certificate. I will be sharing the details again on the chat box in case any of you forget. But this is how you can avail the certificate for this. I will be sharing all these links and the codes again on the chat box. So this is the gift and the surprise I had for all of you. I'll be quickly sharing that on the chat box. I will also be sharing the feedback form on the chat box. So please feel free to fill the feedback form. We would love to hear from you, get all your comments, get all your remarks, questions, anything of that sort. We would really love to hear from you. So please fill the feedback form. I'm sharing the link on the chat box for everything. And do not leave the session yet. We still have Ashna who's going to answer the questions for us. And yeah, and I hope this has been useful for you so far. And I will be sharing all the links. And over to you, Ashna. We have a lot of questions awaiting.
All right. So let's go with, could you please provide certain more links? Definitely, I've compiled a lot of links in this Google Doc. Let me just share the link. Just give me a second, guys.
Yes, Kushagra, I'll be sharing all the information on the WhatsApp group as well. As soon as the webinar ends, I'm posting it on the chat box also. So Ashna has shared a Google Doc link. You can all see that also.
Yeah, let me know, guys, if anybody has any issue opening it. The sharing is public. I'll keep adding links to it in future as well. Sure. So this is a small compilation which I just did in the last 10 minutes. So, all right, let's go start with the question. So simply putting in layman terms, every entity becomes authorized to issue its own currency on the basis of its value of its transactions recorded on the ledger. Simply put in, I did not understand this question. So every entity becomes authorized to issue its own currency on the basis of value of its transaction recorded in the ledger. I'm not sure, but Shriyankshi, I'm not able to understand the question.
Would the attendee please clarify that question? Till then, Ashna can just take up another question.
So how are the earning income come from the investment in cryptocurrency? I'm not a block like Bitcoin trader. I'm not a miner, but I did put a small article looking at your question, Jacinto. I put it on the Google Doc. You can have a look on it. And so we have, the next question. I don't see it. Just a second. Okay, how can we store any information on a blockchain? What is the procedure? What is the relationship between a bitping and a blockchain? So how you can store information on a blockchain, guys? It's a ledger, as mentioned. Blockchain could be act as a storage. You can imagine it as a digital storage unit in form of a ledger. So we can put, there is a file, so there is a size of a file which can be put in. So you cannot proceed, you cannot increase the size. That's why only compressed files can be added on the blockchain ledger. Any evidence or any art or any any information, could be a medical record, can definitely be added on the blockchain platform. But again, the size has to be compressed depending upon the kind of blockchain platform we are using, and it becomes very secure whenever we are using this platform. And I quite did not understand the relationship of bit ping and blockchain. I'm not sure if the I mean the question could be elaborated. That will be really nice. What is the relationship between a bit ping and a blockchain? But yes, we can store information. This is the way we can store information on blockchain. Of course, there is a mathematical algorithm which one has to type in, and that's how you can put in your information on the blockchain. What is the difference? I think they clarified in the next question, right? What is the relationship of Bitcoin and blockchain? Very simple. Blockchain is the technology that empowers Bitcoin. Bitcoin happens through blockchain, which is using the model of decentralized ledger technology. Next question is, if a person creates an NFT, how and where they can sell it? Guys, there is a huge marketplace for NFT right now. I'm 100% sure you need a specific amount of money that you need to put in on the website. So it's between 25 to 30,000 rupees of the enrollment fees. There are a lot of websites who are doing this. If you want to check out, there is crypto assets, there is crypto monkeys and all who are dealing with this. But there's it's very different than how conventional Bitcoin blockchain works and how NFT works. It's very different. The system is very different. So recently, Squid Game crypto value got reduced to nil overnight, leading to a major loss. Um, where did the question go? Just a second. Shrankshi, I am not able to see this question. It had Squid Game
Check
in
the
it.
answer to question.
Recently, Squid Game's crypto value got reduced to nil overnight, leading to major. So, yeah, it's a very interesting question. How is the value of cryptocurrency determined? Again, it's basic economics. So, prices of any single cryptocurrency. Let's take example of Bitcoin. So, there are several factors that are needed. First is your economics, supply and demand. However way the demand comes up, and however supply is, it completely impacts the whole unit or whole pricing of the cryptocurrency. That is the reason you keep seeing a dip or a rise in Bitcoin. And the competition right now, there's Ripple, there's Dogecoin, there's Litecoin. A lot of these cryptocurrency are coming up. So more the competition, lesser the price. And then regulation. What countries are putting in this cryptocurrency in their regulation? What is happening around the world? Like right now, you can see in the Ukraine-Russia war, it's causing a huge economic loss all over the world. Our petrol prices or our diesel prices are getting affected, and your cryptocurrency, Bitcoin prices are getting dipped every day as well. Though it does get a rise, but it does get a dip as well. So Bitcoin is actually playing a very huge role in in the Ukraine economy. A lot of people from Ukraine have invested in cryptocurrency, which is saving them for now. So that's why I say this is a very big upside of using cryptocurrency, of using digital currency, is that it is safe there and there. Nobody can take it away from you. Even when the banks are getting destroyed in Ukraine, even when the house are getting looted or fired up, their money is pretty safe. I know the cost of life is more, but the financial part is secure. So this is what impacts the whole value of cryptocurrency. So this is answered. Next question is, okay, what are
Ashna, the questions that have been answered, could you just tell me which those are so that I'll just clear them for
so let me see. I'll just put it. Okay. So simply, I think this is so this one is answered.
okay.
I think the other ones are yet to be answered.
How are the earning income? Is that answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've put in the link on the Google Doc. I am not a minor, so I won't be able to give in a lot of input in this part. Okay.
The attendees who have raised their hand, please type your question on the Q&A box. It will just be easier. How is the then going by your explanation, the blockchain system is widespread? Is this question answered?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Going by your explanation, the blockchain system is widespread, so practically it is not possible to regulate a currency that is spread across nations. Kindly share your views on this. Has this been answered?
Definitely, no, it's not answered. So this question, so blockchain is dynamic. Every day, something or something, somewhat other gets changed in this space, in blockchain space, right? So again, the question got messed up. Just a second. Let me just find this question again. Yeah, so practically it is not possible to regulate a currency. Yes, it's not, but to accept it as a currency could play a huge role, because if any country is regulating a cryptocurrency, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's Ripple, or any other virtual currency, the chances of money laundering, the chances of using it in illicit activities gets decreased. So, and a lot of people have invested in it. India is on a huge number, about like 10 crore people in India have invested in cryptocurrency. So outrightly banning it is not an answer. I know that there is no need of a particular legislation devoted only to blockchain in India, but something related to cryptocurrency must be done. And I feel, yes, it is widespread, but each country could have their own perspective of purview on cryptocurrency or on blockchain per se. Not on blockchain, I would say there is a law needed. It could work on the case by case basis, depending upon the kind of innovation that is fostering in any country. But for cryptocurrency, however approach the country is taking, there is a need. Like, I mean, a specific legislation, a specific circular, like what President Biden had posted, is needed. Outrightly banning what India did, I do not agree with that. Cool. So next is, what are a few languages you recommend lawyers learn, and to what extent to be able to work with blockchain clients? Is it a necessity or does it help to serve with clients? Guys, it's totally your discretion. You can learn Python, you can learn Java, you can learn C, but it's not 100% needed. It's only when you want to get into depth of blockchain, when you want to understand the whole technology of it. It is just for your basic knowledge, so that if you're working with a technician, with a software engineer in your firm or in any startup you're working in any bank you're working in, you should know the basics. And if you're knowing the whole structure, it's basically a very easier way to understand the whole narrative of how blockchain technology works. It does help to serve a client with better services, because the client has trust on you that, okay, this person knows the law, this person knows the blockchain. I have complete trust in this person. But again, it's not needed that you know the whole system of how blockchain works or the whole system of how the technology works. Even the basics are good. So, are there any laws governing blockchain? So, I've already spoken about it. We have covered the section of US, Switzerland, Estonia, and UK. How can we make use of blockchain in fake media detection? So guys, I mean, again, it's a very niche question which this person has asked. Blockchain is a very trusted entity. With our media right now, there are a lot of fake photographs, fake images that are getting transmitted all over the world. Per se, blockchain is not really needed for fake media detection. Artificial intelligence would be a better technology, because, and also facial recognition technology as well. Combination of these technologies, once used, fake media could be decreased. China is already doing a lot in this space. Per se, blockchain does not make sense with fake media detection as of now. But yes, if there is a combination with AI, putting in any media related information or news article or any image on blockchain platform, the ownership or the provenance can be proved. But per se, fake media detection, no. For that, AI could help. Could you please discuss the potential development of law in regulation of blockchain based virtual land in the metaverse? So I feel metaverse as of now is a very new concept. A lot of people don't even have idea what is going on. I'm pretty sure most of our parents don't have any idea. It's basically a digital world which is going parallelly amongst us. Not just NFTs, but you can buy real estate property, real estate land on metaverse as well. It's a very new generation thing. To get a regulation on cryptocurrency, proper regulation on cryptocurrency is yet to happen in the world. A blockchain based virtual land and metaverse a development related to that, there's a long way to go. We need to wait for it for sure. So the potential development, probably 4 5 years more, maybe more. So if the government themselves issued digital currency, wouldn't it defy the basic essence of crypto by going back to the centralized regulation over currency? Yes. If the government are making a public cryptocurrency, the whole idea of DLT fades away, and there is no sense. Let's say if India is introducing their own cryptocurrency, what are the chances that the value would play a decent role in other countries as well? Because India, we have a different economy, we have different modules that affects the finances, that affects the economic ethos of our country. Exactly. It per se does not make sense, but as I said, it is hearsay that they are introducing their own public cryptocurrency. But I'm pretty sure the government is well aware of what the basic essence of cryptocurrency is. So they would definitely take that in mind while they introduce a digital currency in India. So let's see what happens. So what is the intersection between criminal law and blockchain? I already spoke about it, chain of custody. So blockchain can be used in chain of custody during the evidence, during the case trials in the courts. So this is a small intersection that plays a huge role between criminal law and blockchain. So how is it assumed that 7.9% of our population have invested in crypto when the trail of transactions is not traceable in blockchain? I never said that the trail of transaction is not traceable. Definitely, there depends from platform to platform. The first generation of platform of blockchain, the identity was really hard to track. But right now, there are a lot of crypto exchanges that are taking place. They make sure any person buying the cryptocurrency through them should the identity has to be validated. Like right now, if you go on phone pay, Google Pay, KYC happens, know your customer, but that does not per se happen on Bitcoin. But with the help of these coin exchanges, a lot of people, a lot of these there is a sense of awareness that the identity of person is known. But the chances of tracking one person, because it's a distributed system, it's spread across the whole world. So to find one person per se, it's very difficult. It's a very time consuming process. I'm not saying that they are not traceable, but the 7.9% of our population have invested. This is a research study that has been done by several crypto exchanges in India, and that is why they're urging government to not to ban the private cryptocurrency on the face of it. And Shreyansha, I think the other questions are for you.
The course on contract drafting, we will provide some templates, but won't really provide templates as such. We will definitely be telling you how to draft contracts generally, what are the clauses which are there in the major contracts, so that that information could be applicable for any sort of contract that you're doing. We may share some templates during the course of the contract, during the course of the lesson. The experts will be sharing some templates, but the course will be more of a general overview on, okay, these are the clauses that are present in all contracts basically, and we will share some templates like lease agreements and all as an example.
All right.
Can you please show the last slide again? One second. I'll just opening it. Sorry. Ashnat, can you please take up another question till then? I'm just opening.
Sure. So Sahil is saying that his question is that every entity that uses DLT is actually issuing its own currency. Not per se. Once it's not very simple to create a blockchain platform. As of now, there are only handful of blockchain platform where you can create your applications, and there are handful of organizations where the cryptocurrency is happening, because it's not very simple, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, Dogecoin, etc. So these are the cryptocurrency these are the types of cryptocurrency which one has to deal in while using the blockchain. But when it comes to Ethereum, only Ether can be used. When you are working on a Bitcoin blockchain platform, only Bitcoin can be used. So of course the number is getting increased. Initially there was just Bitcoin. Now you can see there is a whole page on different kinds of cryptocurrency all over the world, though Bitcoin holds the most value. And many these cryptocurrencies come and go. It totally depends on the kind of platform these people are using to create cryptocurrency and what value they are holding up, how are they encrypted, how are they secure, and what level people are interested to even to pursue transaction in it, right? Cool.
I'll just share the last slide once. So yeah, this was the slide.
I feel they're talking for you, Shreyanshi, like the contract. I'm not sure.
No, somebody wanted to see the last slide of the PPT, so I'm just sharing that. Yeah.
Right. Hope this helps. It's just a set of questions that I was asking. I was clarifying. So, so this question is, ma'am, can you clarify a little more about how is the blockchain system going to be regulated in the Indian legal system? Uh, well, blockchain, as mentioned, there is no need to put on a legislation on blockchain technology itself. It's a very dynamic technology, and every platform, however way they are using it, it is very unique. So, a more case by case approach or a set of order or a set of regulation would be helpful by the courts. It is definitely a niche system which is used in China, and not many people are doing it right now. There are a lot of platforms that are using blockchain as evidence, like Prescient in Canada, and there are a couple more as well. I'll attach the link on the Google Doc. But yes, there is no need of blockchain regulation in legal system. Just a small acknowledgement would be great. It is yet to enter the courts. Only the cryptocurrency cases are there as of now, and that to about 5 to 10 cases. Blockchain per se coming into the courts in the form of evidence, we're yet to witness it. Let's see when that happens. It'll be great. Ma'am, can you please tell me, is it okay to pursue it? Yes, I don't have any science background. I did my 11th and 12th, my high school in commerce, then my BLLB from India, and then I pursued my LLM in law and tech. So if every person on the blockchain network has access to all the transaction, it's not violation to right of privacy. Well, once a person agrees to pursue themselves on public blockchain, they agree to this privacy clause. It is a big, that's why a lot of private blockchain are getting introduced. A lot of consortium or hybrid blockchain are getting introduced. But honestly, in Bitcoin blockchain, it doesn't even matter. Of course, it's a privacy concern that we can see who owns what, but per se, your name wouldn't be reflected. You will always become in the form of numbers. If you want to crack the name, then a proper tech person would be needed. So please tell me once again, what is the mining of coins? I have attached a link on it. So again, I am not a trader. I am just a blockchain lawyer and an educator. If you want to get into mining, if you want to get into Bitcoin trading, etc., there are a couple links which I've put in the Google Doc, and you can for sure refer to YouTube for that. So how a cryptocurrency or a coin form, can anyone make their own cryptocurrency? Interesting. Well, cryptocurrency is a digital currency. No, not anybody can make their own cryptocurrency. You need to have a proper distributed ledger technology backed platform, that is blockchain backed platform. There has to be a proper code run. There has to be proper system that has to be adopted, and it's a digital currency. There is no physical or it is not tangible. You can't touch it. It's there on the metaverse, on the digital space. So what sort of work can one do as a freelancer in blockchain technology industry? You can become a content writer, you can become a legal advisor, legal consultant. You can also pursue internship in these blockchain startups or fintech startups as well. But as of for now, content writing is a huge boom in blockchain industry. A lot of people are needed who can actually write content in this space and again become a consultant or whatsoever. Wow, we've answered quite many questions.
Yeah,
I'm
there were
really
some
happy.
questions on the chat box, but I really can't keep track of them. So
Yeah.
whoever had those questions, I would really request them to maybe just put it on the Q&A box, or you can just unmute yourself and ask. I think there was Megha, there was Kushagra who had some questions. So if you can unmute yourself and ask, that would also be fine. All right. I don't think if Megha and Kushagra are still on this session, please feel free to put your question on the chat box. Or you can just unmute yourself and ask the question. All right. Are there any questions so far? Any other questions? Kushagra's okay. Ask the question. Has anyone ever thought of tokenization of legal services? How will it look like?
So understanding first tokenization, let me give you a small idea what is tokenization. It is basically process of developing a virtual token on a blockchain platform to represent a fractional ownership of a real world asset. So in the context, let's say if it's a real estate, I'm just going to give you a small example of real estate. That asset could be the property itself. the ownership interest in a legal entity that owns the property, that's secured by the property, or a right to income from such property. So so you have a small token related to that particular real estate. When it comes to tokenizing the legal services, it's a very long way to happen. It can happen, I'm not denying it, but let's see when that happens. And so Rahul has a question: is tech law and IPR law same or different? Oh no, it's very different. In IPR is intellectual property rights. Like you have basic constitution rights in India, IPR are your intellectual property rights. Intellectual property are those property that cannot be touched. So these are your intangible property and you have rights on it. Technology is a huge space. Data analytics, machine learning, what your your these virtual machines, your Alexa, Google Home, facial recognition technology, your iPhone, your system. This is all technology, and this is where tech law comes into space, and it's a very niche space as of now. I'm not sure. See, this what happens. I just mentioned this word A and then it spoke to me. This is what is technology, guys. It's very different from IPR. This is why the law is needed. This is where the privacy law is paving its way, the GDPR, etc. Per se, in IPR, it's a very IPR, you can say it's a small part of the technology law. Let's take it that way. My question was around the future of bit confused. Thank you, Alexa, also. So you're confused right now. So Rahul, what I can do is probably you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and we could sit on coffee and I would love to give you a small idea what is IPR, what is blockchain. Q&A. My question was around the future of environmental law, the broad themes that we see in the upcoming future in environmental law, especially the given goals of Paris Agreement and the so Megha, I feel it's a very broad spectrum of environment law that you are speaking of right now. This webinar is focusing on intrinsic and basic values what blockchain has to offer. I per se do not feel that the complexities of environment and the sustainable impact needs to be analyzed in this particular webinar. We can definitely throw in light later on this aspect. But as of now, what happens in 2050, I definitely agree and respect to those people who are looking on the environmental front or the sustainable front as of now. But I feel that law shouldn't be overlooked. And if blockchain helps law, and if the sustainable model is not overlooked, there is no harm in adopting this technology because there's already a huge environmental loss which we are already doing by switching on our ACs, by switching on our lights right now. This is also an environmental issue, which if we want to go in that kind of debate right now. But yes, I wouldn't say blockchain environment has huge issue as of now. But yes, remedies or concerns are validated and answers could be come by people like you who could raise it to these big tech firms or to these startups who can work on a more sustainable model when it comes to blockchain and law. Can I mint NFT using Dapper Wallet to OpenSea or any other marketplace? Of course, you can OpenSea marketplace. Why not? But only so every market space have their own set of rules and regulations. We can do another webinar on NFT. But if any question related to blockchain you guys have, I can put in links related to NFT on the Google Doc as well. But guys, if you're interested in minting, trading, etc., please refer to YouTube. This is very law intensive and intensive webinar because the name says Lawctopus. So that's it. That's all I can say.
That was great, Ashna. Thank you so much. You answered what, some 43 questions, and I'm sure there were like, I think that must be a record for one of our webinars, I suppose. And you definitely did take a lot of other questions in the middle as well. Thank you so much for giving your time and your energy and all your amazing information and repository of resources, sharing that with us. Thank you so much for taking out the time to do that. Thank you so much for all our attendees, all of you who have joined on a Monday evening. The links that Ashna has shared, she's put them on a Google Doc. I will put it on the WhatsApp group as well, and I will be sending it on on the email that Zoom will be sending to you at the end of this webinar. So don't worry, you will be getting all the links relating to the certificate payment, relating to the course registration, the feedback form. All those links will be sent to you on WhatsApp and on email. And that email will come through Zoom. So please don't message me asking where's that email. Zoom will be sending that to you. Don't worry about that. Thank you so much for attending this session on a Monday evening once again. And we hope you really appreciated it. We hope you enjoyed it. Thanks again, Ashna, for sharing this with us. And stay tuned for more updates from Lawctopus. We have a lot of exciting material coming up in law and tech. And now that we have a TMT course also, you can definitely watch out for more resources coming your way. So do check out our social media platforms for updates and keep yourself posted. We do share interesting resources now and then. And yeah, please consider signing up for a course of if you want to get a more in-depth information about things too. So thank you so much, everyone. We hope you have a great night and have a great week ahead. Thanks once again. I'll end the session now.
Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.